Yeah, no kidding. Okay. I'm going to call the Finance and Budget Committee meeting to order for Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. This evening we will go over, to start, at least over the expenditure list. Commissioner Shea, do you have any questions? Or first, let's go through. Commissioner Thatcher's present, Commissioner O'Neill is absent, Commissioner Boyle present, Commissioner Walker present, Commissioner Shea present, and Commissioner O'Leary is absent. Commissioner Shea, did you have questions on the expenditure list?
If Director Hassler could just give a brief explanation on the emergency.
Sure. There's an additional claim for $3,000 to the Montana Department of Administration, and it's for our filing fees for our fiscal year 2025 financial report. And you have to send the check in advance of sending the report, or sometimes they say they don't accept your report because they didn't receive the money, and then they fine you. So it was just afterthought, really, and we're working on getting the financials submitted, and realized that we needed to get the check. So that's the emergency.
Okay. Thank you, Director Hassler. Thank you, Commissioner Shea. Commissioner Boyle, do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
Commissioner Walker?
No, I have no.
I didn't have any other questions either. With that, I would entertain a motion.
I will make a motion that we have reviewed and approved the emergency expenditure in the amount of $3,000 for January 28th, 2026.
Motion's been made and seconded for the emergency expenditure. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Motion passes.
And I'll make a motion that we have reviewed and approved the expenditure list for Wednesday, January 28th, 2026 in the amount of $983,306.98.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion passes. We did have some budget transfers this evening. Oof. Okay, it looks like one in the amount of $5,000. Verkada door readers with installation. I believe that Verkada is the security, correct?
Yes.
One in the amount of $16,569 out of Public Works. It's for overtime related to covering shifts for employees out on vacation or sick time. Transfer for bank charges, the square charges for the landfill payment system. Non-capital fixed assets is for a Starlink internet system and a snowplow. The transfer for machinery and equipment is a pressure washer for equipment. Pressure washer stopped working and had to be replaced. So the total of the budget transfers was $16,569. One for the Council of Commissioners in the amount of $4,300. This is the Civic Rec subscription and Municode codification support through Civic Rec. One for $2,000. Transfers for HAZWOPER training for the Water Maintenance Division. That's for Public Works. Another one for Public Works out of the Water Utility in the amount of $1,194. Transfer for hazard pay and repair and maintenance supplies for water emergency. One in the amount of $10,000 for Public Works. It's to transfers for overtime needed to run the industrial water system. One in the amount of $10,000 out of Metro Sewer and Public Works. And that's for other purchase services for the increase in cleaning and pest control costs for the roundhouse, as well as mostly excavation notices. And another one in the amount of $8,000 in Public Works. The budget transfers for payroll costs associated with line 131 and due to union contracts and on-call phone line. This will need to be increased to cover those costs for the remainder of the fiscal year. One in the amount of $5,000 out of the road fund in Public Works. It's for the purchase of tools that are needed for paving and year-round construction projects. Tools that are needed are ferrous metal locators and asphalt loots. One in the amount of $10,600. This is for a Veterans Treatment Court grant. And one in the, one in the amount of $4,868. This looks like another grant. Yep. Department of Justice Assistance Grants, the DUI and Vets Treatment Court. One in the amount of $1,926 out of the county attorney. We budgeted for a new copier in one line item, but we do not have enough for the copier in that line item. So the transfer came from one line item to another, as the copier was $7,315.80. One in the amount of $3,797 for the clerk of the court, district court, for 2 desks with returns and 4-drawer filing cabinet for functional workspace, transferring money from operating supplies to non-capital fixed assets. One in the amount of $102. That's for translator charges for a district court hearing. It's obviously out of the district court. One in the amount of $25,000 for the sheriff's office. Transfer is for deductible insurance expense not budgeted. And the last one this evening is for the amount of $25,000. Are these the same ones? No. $25,000 for a deductible insurance expense not budgeted, also out of the sheriff's office.
So this one is for the detention center.
Okay.
That is for the sheriff's budget.
Okay.
So there have been more budget transfers in the last couple of weeks that we've seen, and at the end of the year, going into the new fiscal year, we work on a mid-year review, and so we send notices out to all the departments that say, hey, look, you have this line item that's overspent, please take care of it. So that's why you're seeing more than usual, as everybody's just kind of taking care of their overexpended line items.
Does anybody have any questions on the budget transfers? Okay. Also on tonight's agenda is something I don't know if I've seen before, but communication number 2026-20, Jackie Thompson, Environmental Health Manager, requesting Council of Commissioners permission to apply for an NEHA FDA Retail Flexible Funding Model Grant in the amount of $5,000 with an additional add-on training grant up to $7,500 and will be used to improve the retail food regulatory program. If I had to guess, this came to us to identify whether there's a match associated with this. So I will reach out to Ms. Thompson and find that out. I missed this. I'm not sure how I missed that, but so I'll find that out. Would you guys want to hold this, or do you want to move it and I can report to Chairman Morgan? Commissioner Shea.
I would prefer that we move it because there may be a deadline we don't know about.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd entertain a motion.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to refer communication number 2026-20 back to the full council for approval, I guess. Yeah.
A motion's been made and seconded to refer communication number 2026-20 back to the full council for approval. Is there anything on the question? All those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion passes. Is there any other comments, questions, or concerns on this evening's or for this evening's budget meeting? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Second. All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.